Alright, Nana, hit it. Crank it over for me, Nana. You're not cranking it. Okay, folks, I got a 12-volt battery hooked up. I've unhooked the wires to anything except for the starter because I don't want 12 volts running through my system. Done it plenty of times before. And we've got it where it'll roll over. Seems to be rolling over really good. The problem is it's rolling over really too good. It spins really easy. There's not much compression. For anybody that wants to know how I've done that, just went to the starter. We've got the power hooked to the starter. We have unhooked. This would be the wire that goes to the generator and to the lights, or to the gauge, everything inside. Switch, key switch. This is actually the one for the headlights, and goes down to the headlight switch. So we've unhooked both of them. That way we don't have to worry about 12 volts feeding through this system. Now this is positive ground. We're hooked back up, and all we want to run that 12 volt for is the start, and then we'll disconnect the power going to the coil and hook up a 12 volt there. We'll either run a resistor or whatever we need to do. You can get by for a little while without it, but you don't want to do it long. I'll show you something else. On these coils, to see whether they've gotten hot or not, you can see there's sort of a bump inside there. If it's been hot, it'll be swelled up. That's where it starts swelling at first. So if somebody's left the key on too long or something like that, or some fool like me run it with a 6 volt start, or 6 volt with 12 volts without running a resistor. That's what a ballast resistor is. Ballast resistor reduces the voltage down, splits it in half. So, all right, let me see. She was rolling over. She's not now, and I don't know why. Let me see what's going on. Okay, what the problem is, you got corrosion in here on the contacts, so when this comes down, and I might not have got our wire tight now. A little hot. Try again. That's a little. Okay, this thing's rolling over so easy by hand. It's kind of got me worried about whether the valves are stuck or not. So what I'm going to do is get the air, blow all the rust and dirt off of here, and I'm going to go ahead and pull these plugs out. Now the distributor I've already set down in. This is a distributor that I bought. The condenser's missing. We can run without a condenser, without an original condenser. Not without a condenser, but without an original condenser. We'll get these plugs out of it and see what it looks like. Now this distributor only goes in one way. It's got a T-slot and it's offset, so you can only put it in one way. And I'll show you in a little bit how you adjust the timing on this to get it where you need it. We'll get it up on top dead center and go from there. But I'm gonna get it cleaned up, get these plugs out. Anyway, so we got this car back too. Got it back up on the concrete, back toward the shop. Got to get to work putting the other pedal pads on it and a lot of little things. We're doing some carburetor changing this coming week. We're going to go ahead and get this thing hopefully where I can drive it to the cruise in coming up, and the next one. Okay folks, pulled the plugs out. None of them look terrible. So now we're going to do a compression test. So we've got it in number 4. We'd start from the back. I've got a feeling. Now the adapter that I made for the Franklin also fits on this. So, like I said, this thing spins over so easy, I kind of doubt we're going to have any compression. We will see what we got. Alright, so cylinder number 4. Nothing. 0. Alright, let's go to 3. Alright, cylinder number 3. $31. Alright, cylinder number 2. Nothing. Alright, cylinder number 1. £40, 45. Okay, so we're not off to a very good start. I'm going to mark on here what these cylinders were, and that way we can keep track as we try to get the compression up. Okay, so we've got it marked 45, 0, 30, and 0. I think that might have been 31 or 33 or something, but it don't matter. So first I'm going to start with some PV Blaster down the cylinder. And we'll see. We'll roll it over a little bit after we spray it in there. And then we'll try to do a compression test again. And see what it does. Alright. Okay, now we're back on number 1. We had 45. We're a little over 60. Okay folks, this cylinder number 2 had 0 compression. And it's still got 0 compression. Alright, so we still got a valve stuck on that one. Alright, cylinder number 3, which had 30, 31, 32, something like that. Also about up to 60, just below 60. Alright, cylinder number 4, we had 0. And nothing's changed. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to close this side up, open the other side, and see if we can get the valve cover off without taking the intake off, or the exhaust. Maybe, maybe not. Yeah, we can try. We'll see what happens anyway. We may take the carburetor off because we're going to take it off anyway. Somebody's done a repair here. And I noticed another thing, there's no vacuum port on here. Nowhere. And that's kind of unusual. So we'll have to figure out what's going on. We may have to replace this manifold, which they're cheap, so it's not that big an issue. But we'll go ahead and get this, maybe get the carburetor off and then get this cover off. We'll see which valves are sticking. Okay, so we get the side cover off. Something I didn't expect was a lot of oil to come out of it. But it was full of good and clean but stinky oil. So I guess we can figure out what we've got stuck and what we don't. Okay, so we're going to start with, this one's fine, so we're going to start with number 2 here and see which valve starts. I tell you already that it is the exhaust valve right there. So we've got an exhaust valve on number 2 sticking. So here on number 2 I just tapped the valve and it popped down. So it's not going to be stuck bad. So I think we're good with it. Now we're going to try this last one. And if it pops down easy, then we know that we can get this thing to run on all the cylinders without tearing it apart. Alright, I'm going to show you how easy this one is stuck. I was pushing that thing down with my finger, but I'm afraid I'm going to get stuck in there. As you can see, it didn't take anything. We'll keep working with it. The other one don't seem to want to move yet. So I've sprayed it again through the cylinder with some PV Blaster. Let it sit a little bit. We're going to keep fighting it. But it's so far, I think it's going to be a rough one. This one wasn't bad at all. But I don't know. And you can see the dirt in here. This is all stuff that came in when that distributor was out. So we'll be able to clean all that out now. What a mess. I don't know how long this thing has been since it's ran. You know, there's no inspection sticker or anything like that. Don't tell me when it was last on the road. But, I mean, it's been a lot of years. There's no doubt in my mind about that. Because the oil smells like really old oil. If I was to guess, you know, 25 years at least. And you know, sitting in that barn, and I guess we're just lucky. I know that the car at the other end of the barn, the 39 Chevrolet, was pulled into that barn in 1971. So this could have very easily been put in there in the 70s. And I think with the windshield, the posts, and the missing headlights, pieces like that, I think that if I was a guessing person, I'd say that that stuff got stolen while it was in there, because you know there was people that had been caught and you know trying to steal stuff, and then there's somebody had stolen one Model A from that same location, so the one that was sitting beside the Model T. All right, let me continue to work on this back one here, we'll see if we can get it unstuck. And this one here, I think we'll have it to where it moves real good here shortly. And then we can do a compression test and erase our zero off and get it on up. So, all right. Okay, folks, I actually got it to move. So it's popped down, so I think we're going to be fine. It's just going to take me a little bit of time of playing with this, rolling it over, and keep, popping them down. Okay, so number 2 we're good on. Number 4 we're still having a little bit of issues, and we'll show you. As you can see, it's stuck. What I'm doing is just going in and going to the retainer and then just tapping it with a hammer, and it's popping down pretty quick and pretty easy. So I'm not, there's no chance I'm going to bend the valve or like that. But it's still sticking as it goes up, so we will keep doing it. I've sprayed it again and sprayed the this side of it also with PB Blaster when the valve was closed, and we'll just keep going until we get it to pop down. Now it's probably still not going to have great compression. I mean, it's still going to be low because it's going to have rust and crap around the seats. That is just gonna take a while to get it all worked out of it. Now, probably the best way to do this would be to take the head off, pull the valves out, all that good stuff. But again, I'm fixing cars, not restoring cars. So we're gonna fix these cars and make them run and drive. See, I've done that by hand. We'll make them run and drive and probably sell them all. So that's the plan. We're going to do a back on the road series of all the cars that I get here in the next few weeks, and we'll do what it takes to make them back running and driving, and then just put them for sale. We'll make sure we get title straightened for everything and all that good stuff. And this sometimes seems like it could take forever to do, but eventually you're going to get it. We'll get it eventually. All right, folks, we're not there yet, but I've got it now to where when you just touch it, it's popping down. So hopefully we can get it. We'll keep rolling, and maybe within another 15 minutes or so, we'll get it. All right, last one. I think we got it. Go around. Here she's coming up. And that's coming down. Alright, now let's do a compression test on number 2 and number 4. Alright, so here is number 2, and which had 0. And we're going to see what it's got now. Looks like about 40 pounds. 45, about 45 actually. That's a lot better than 0. Alright. I'm going to do it again just to make sure the valve didn't stick back open. Just do one more check real quick. We're good to go there. Now let's hook it up to number 4. Alright, number 4, go from 0 pounds to almost 70. We'll do it one more time. Yeah, 75. So that one's better than the others. Okay, so I think she's going to be ready to start putting back together and starting. Alright folks, I think we're going to call the video, and in the next video we'll go ahead and see if we can get this thing fired. Just got to order a few parts. Distributor cap's cracked, so I'm going to go ahead and get one. Don't know if I'm going to use that style or not, but we'll figure that out. And then we're going to get the carburetor kit and go ahead and get the right condenser for it, since we've got to wait anyway. So, couple things. One thing is, you know, I had a lot of people on like the Packard video ask why didn't I just tear the carburetor down and fix it and clean it and rebuild it to start with. And I'll explain my logic behind it. And it makes sense to me. But okay, the Packard engine wasn't like this. It wasn't in a car. We was checking to see if it was good. If it wasn't good, if it had a rod hammering or a rod through the side or something like that, we wouldn't fix it. So by pouring the gas down the intake and getting it to fire up, I was able to hear whether it had a rod knocking or anything like that. So that told me that it was okay to proceed farther. Now I'm rebuilding this carburetor. Why? Okay, this is a different situation. No matter what's wrong with this engine, if it's something that we can fix, we're going to fix it. So because this is in a 31 Roadster and it's not sitting on the ground, and we're not debating on sticking it in, something else. So, but that's my logic behind it. It saves me time. If I would have poured a little gas in it and fired it up and then realized that it had a busted rod, broke rod, or one was through the side of the block, or it was hammering really hard, then we probably would have held off on it. And then if for some reason, just like it did, it turned out it sounded pretty good and wasn't hammering or knocking, so then we went forward with the carburetor. But in the long run, it saves me a lot of time because, years back I've been really, really lucky, for a long time on these engines, but, there's been times I've gotten some that were really terrible. I had one that had a spun bearing, and I was actually told it was a good engine. And I worked pretty hard to get it started, and it had put so much gas in the oil that when it fired one time, it actually exploded inside and blew the dipstick tube about 40 or 50 feet in the air and made the valve covers blow out. So that's part of the deal. Sometimes it works out that way. But anyway, I appreciate everybody watching. And until next time, bye.